guys! Welcome back to my channel. Today I thought it would be fun to do a video about my most rereadable books, or books that I enjoy enough to reread on occasion. So I'm not a big rereader. I like a lot of, obviously I love lots and lots of different kinds of books, but I kind of have to be in the right mood to reread a book. And I also only reread some books, even if it's a book I really loved. I might not want to reread it because part of the reason why I loved it was the suspense, or building up to the end, or not knowing what's happening. And it's like, once you read a book once and you know what happened and you know how it ended, you're like, I'm good. You know? Because let's be honest, all of us have like a gigantic to-be-read pile, and sometimes you just don't have time to reread a book that you remember well. So this is my special group of books that have been dubbed rereadable for various reasons, which I will talk about. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, the first most rereadable book for me is probably one that is also on your rereadable list, and it is the glorious Harry Potter. I am gonna be honest with you guys and tell you that I am part of the Harry Potter generation. However, I was a big disappointment to the Harry Potter generation, and I never actually read the books or saw the movies when I was younger. I do have this original, one of the first editions of the very first book from 1997 or 98, whatever year it was released. But my mom bought it and she read it, some of it to me when I was like 6 or 7, and I just didn't really get into it. And maybe it's because it was kind of around that time where I didn't really think I liked reading and I wasn't that interested in it. So for whatever reason, I just didn't feel interested in keeping up with the rest of the series. So then the movies started being released, and I do think I saw like the first 3 movies, but it was a long time ago, like when they first came out, so I didn't really remember them because I'd only seen them once. So last year I finally decided it was time to quit being such a schmuck and finally read these books. So I went into them with like a fair amount of knowledge because I have lots of friends who read them, but I didn't really know a lot. So I didn't know how it ended, I didn't know what characters died, except for a couple. So it was really great. Obviously it's in my to-be-read over and over pile because I've read this series 3 times already. It was amazing. I loved it. I see why, everybody loves these books, and I just, am kind of upset with myself that I didn't read them earlier. The Harry Potter movies are so great, but they still don't compare. So, read the books. The next book or series/book that is in my to-be-read over and over pile is the Infernal Devices trilogy by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book, Clockwork Angel. I have read this series 3 or 4 times. Every time I just love it more and more. It is fantastic and great, and everybody should read it. If you've tried to read the Mortal Instruments and couldn't really get into them, I would suggest trying the Infernal Devices anyway. I have heard from a lot of people that they couldn't really get into the Mortal Instruments, or since it's a long series that is like a lot of thick books, it intimidates a lot of people. The Infernal Devices is only 3 books. They're semi-long, but they're really quick reads once you get into the story, and the characters are just so good. It's just amazing. I have 3 tattoos, and one of them is right here on my forearm, and it says, "We live and breathe words," and it is a quote from the second Infernal Devices book, Clockwork Prince, and it is said by William Herondale. Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire is the 3rd book on my Re-readables list. It is one of the few contemporary reads on this list, and one of the reasons I love it is the way that the characters are written and how they're sort of a little bit backwards from your usual story. Like a lot of contemporary reads, and I'm no expert because I told you guys that I don't love contemporary all the time, but in my experience a lot of contemporary reads are or not even contemporary reads, but just romance in general is kind of about like this girl who's like kind of she has low confidence and she doesn't, you know, have a lot of friends, or she's never had a lot of romantic experience, and then she meets this guy who's this bad boy and he like sweeps her off her feet and takes her into this world she's never known anything about, and it just is like, oh, stars in my eyes, you're great. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but it can feel a little bit overdone after a while. One of the things I love about Beautiful Disaster is the main character, Abby Abernathy, is not your typical girl. She, at the beginning, kind of seems like it, but you find out that she has a shaded past, and she's not the one who initially does all the falling insta-love kind of thing. It's the guy, Travis, who does the falling in love. And I don't know, it just, to me, it's a really interesting swap kind of roles. And also I love just the characters in general. I love Abby's best friend America, and I love their relationship. Really what I need to do is buy the physical copy because I don't have it, and that's embarrassing. The next book is another book that I do not have a physical copy of, so I'll put another floating photo somewhere around here. And it is Significance by Shelley Crane. Shelley Crane is one of my favorite authors. She might be considered sort of an indie author. She is not like super popular, but I really don't understand why. I've read almost all of her books. She writes sort of a mix of contemporary and paranormal, and I really love that combo and the way that she mixes it together. So the Significance series is a 4-book series, and it's about a girl named Maggie and a boy named Caleb. And I think one of my favorite things about this series is the way the romance is written, because at the very beginning of the first book, I'm still on Beautiful Disaster, Maggie and Caleb meet and they touch, and you find out that Caleb is not a normal human. He has some special blood in his system, and his whole family is what is termed aces, which is just someone that's a little other. And when they meet another person who the way Caleb explains it is like your soul sees that person and they realize they want to be with them, and the person whose soul they see agrees, and so then they become soulmates or significant. And so I think what I love about this series is, although there's a little bit of drama between Maggie and Caleb at the beginning, because obviously they just met and Maggie finds out he's not really like all the way human, as they grow together and become a couple, there's like no drama between them. And I think sometimes you just want to read a book and like get some good feeling out of it and like feel confident about the romance and just be happy for the characters, and you don't want like all this fighting and drama and like stuff. You just want them to be happy and to just face other problems together. And that is exactly what Caleb and Maggie do, and I love the way that they like rely on each other as partners, and it's like a perfect go-to like contemporary / romance, just like good feeling kind of book. And I've probably read it like 10 times. I've reread the whole series a few times probably 5 or 6, because sometimes when I get to the end of the first book, I'm like, oh, this is such a great series. Maybe I'll just read it all again. And so that's taken some time away from the TBR pile behind me, but I have no regrets. So the last book that I'm going to talk about is Smash Into You by Shelley Crane. And it is just a standalone contemporary novel. And I just think the romance is really cute, and I really like the way the characters are written, and I really like their chemistry. And it's just a really like lighthearted, easy book to read. If you're like just reading a lot of like heavy fantasy or kind of like depressing dystopian or anything like that, if you just need something like lighthearted and upbeat, it's just the perfect book. So I think I've read it 3 or 4 times, just sort of in those dry spells. So that's gonna be it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, I guess you can give me a thumbs down, but if you didn't like it, also I'd like you to leave me a comment and tell me why, because I'm all about self-improvement. If you are a booktuber, leave a comment down below, because I want to follow all the booktubers. I talked about that in my last video. So let me follow you. Just, you want a subscriber, I want to subscribe, just leave me a comment. If you have any books that you find are tried and true rereads, then leave me a comment and let me know what they are. I hope you guys are all having a fabulous day, and I hope it's as sunny at your house as it is at mine. And if it's not, then I'm sending good sunshine vibes your direction. Unless you like already have a bad sunburn or something, then you might want like a cloudy day to just relax. So if that's you, just disregard the sunshine vibes, okay? Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you in my next video. Bye!